Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we are going to have a look at the currency strength indicator, the newest addition to the currency strength indicator family, and this one is the graphical version. And so now we have the dashboard, we have the histogram, and the GFX, which refers to the graphical, because this is the most graphical looking version of the strength indicator out of the three. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the configuration options just to see what we are able to manipulate here. Okay, so we have the product key. This is the same as all the others. And then we have a mode, and the mode is very interesting. We have a typical mode, which is a look back setting. And when the mode is set to look back setting, the indicator will immediately look at this value here. So what it's doing now, if you put it on this and you press OK, then the indicator is going to show us a currency strength now compared with currency strength 20 periods ago. So if you want to change that a little bit more, you can say, okay, well, I actually want 100 periods ago instead. So you do that, and you'll notice that these lines will slow down just a little bit. And so this is simply just a look back setting. In most currency strength indicators you'll find on the internet, they'll have this as the only option, and it's a fine option. It gives you kind of a minimal functionality and value, but this is just a pretty good default setting for the indicator. Then we have this one here, which is the session open. And when you have the session open mode set, then the indicator looks at these settings here. As you can see here, we have Asia, European, and North American. And what it's doing here is looking at the times which tell the indicator when the three sessions open and when they close. And so it is going to be calculating the strength now compared to the strength at the beginning of the session. And this is interesting because it's going to enable you to assess what has been bought and what has been sold throughout the course of the currently active session. This is a very powerful feature. So if we just set this like so, yeah, you'll see that there are actually no active sessions, so there's nothing to show here. So I can't show you that example, but it does exactly that. It just simply shows you the what the strength of the individual currency has been doing since the open of this session. Okay, then we have this one, look back equals period open, and this is my personal favorite. When this mode has been enabled, the indicator then looks to this setting, period open look back. And so what you're doing now is you're telling the indicator to calculate currency strength now compared to the open of the past day, month, week, 4 hour, or 1 hour. And I really like this very, very much. And if we enable this just for a second, like so, you can see that we have some squiggly lines that look like that. We really show a lot of information. You can see that, I mean, currency strength has been doing this over the course of the past day. So once the clocks tick 1 minute past midnight each day, it starts calculating. And so this is actually, if we go like this, you can see that we are almost 1 day into we have about 45 minutes away from the end of this day, because we have 1440 minutes per day, and we're about 45 minutes away until this period closes. So you can see here that this period opened at midnight on the 17th, which was this morning. And so far we are 1395 minutes into that period. If you click on this one here, you can see that it started at the same time, obviously, and we are 279 5-minute periods since that. And so if you want to see how, strength information in minutes since the beginning of the day, you press the minute button. If you want to see strength information in 5-minute periods intervals, you can go like this, and so on and so forth for all of these. A little bit slow. I'm showing a lot of information here, which is why it's kind of having a bit of a struggle. You can see here we have 30 minutes. You can see that so far today we have 46 half an hour periods since the beginning of today. So very interesting stuff, very interesting indeed. I mean, you can do this, of course, for all of the different periods. For this one here, what I like to do when I'm looking at this is I set this one to a day, this to 4 hour, and this to 1 hour. And this is giving a very clear indication as to what's going on throughout the course of the day. And you can see, like, when there are pullbacks happening, you'll see that one currency is strong here, but it'll be weak here, which simply indicates that we're having a pullback on the hourly chart. But on the daily chart, we are continuing to move in the direction of the overall trend. So don't be scared to buy if strength information is not supporting along, because you need to be focusing on this. This is the overall trend. And the great thing about this is, of course, that you can say, well, I want to see what's been going on in minutes since the beginning of this week. So this week we're pretty late into the week, and you can see that these lines are going to flatten out even more. So we go to the hourly chart, you can see that this is what strength has been doing in hours since the beginning of this week. You can see that we have the big winners are the euro and the Japanese yen. The big losers are the Aussie and the Kiwi. So incredibly powerful information. As you can see, we go here, we do the same thing for the month. Let's see, what is the weakest currency in hours since the beginning of this month? Let's have a look. And we have a pretty similar picture as what we saw earlier on. We have the Kiwi and the Aussie are the weakest so far this month. We're 17 days into the month, and the yen and the euro are the strongest. So very interesting. If you want to see the same information in days, you can simply press on the day button, and this is going to make the lines move a lot quicker because we have fewer lookbacks to deal with. So if we go like this, then you can see that we have the same thing being told, just on a much quicker response, kind of a feedback. The feedback is much faster here when you click closer to the time frame that you are using as a period open. So really interesting stuff here. I mean, you can see here the Kiwi has taken a huge dive, and you can see, I mean, we're kind of reaching this overbought area here, which we have returned to once, and this is the second time, and now we're starting to hopefully kind of move higher from here. We are also approaching weekly demand on the Kiwi American dollar, so maybe we're going to see a bit of a reaction there, and this will of course provide some strength to the Kiwi. So yes, okay, enough about that. Let's go back to the configuration options. So those are the three main options. We have this one here, which is enable look back average. If you want bleeding edge information, then you can set this to false, and it's going to show you a lot more faster moving price. If we go to the hour like so, and you can see it looks like this when the information, the data, is not being averaged, and when you average it, you'll notice that things are smoothed out nicely for us. So if we go like this, you'll see how things kind of slow down a little bit for us. And so you can choose whatever you like. I normally leave it on the average. I like it to be average, just so we have kind of a smoother look to it, so we don't have too many false breakouts. This is an exponential moving average, so we're weighting the most recent currency strength readings. But you can fiddle with that and see what you like there. Additionally, here on the look back open, we have this setting here, which is the period open shift. Currently it's set to 0, and so we are actually looking at the beginning of the current day. But if we wanted to see, okay, we want to compare currency strength now to the beginning of the current day, -1, then you simply put 1 here, then you go like this, and you'll notice that things will change a little bit. If we want to go 5 days back, then you simply change this to 5, like so, and that'll slow things down quite a lot for us. And so this is interesting, because if you want to position yourself the beginning of, for example, the day, or the beginning of the week, then you know how many days that is, and you can simply say we want to go 5 days back or 3 days back or whatever. So this is just a small option that enables you to configure it, but I find that if you leave this on 0, just take the most recent day, month, or period, then I think you'll do just fine. We have this one here, the greater period multiplier. This is normally used when you are overlaying multiple instances of the indicator, and I'll show what that looks like very quickly. If we go like this, so if we attach one instance of this currency strength indicator to this chart, then you want to do enable this display active currencies only, and this shows the currencies that make up the pair we're looking at currently. So we go like this and we say line width, we'll put this to 5 like so. We'll go like that. Let's kind of move back in a little bit just to get it to do something. There we are. You can see that it looks like this. So we are looking at the Japanese yen and the Kiwi. And if we take another one and you drag it onto the same chart, you also set this to true once more. We leave this to 3, and you do, for example, you put this to a smaller period, like for example, look back, set it to 10, you go like that. Well, then now you're looking at both of these. So if we go to this one here, let's disable the 0 line for that one so we can't see that. So it's not so messy, like so. Good. Then you can see that we have a longer term strength, we have shorter term strength, and if you wanted to do another one, put another one on there, you can do that as well. So we'll do that once again. We'll set this to true once more. We'll disable the 0 line. We're going to put this one on 5 now, and we're going to put the thickness of the line to 1, so it's nice and thin. We go like that. We update the chart once more, and you can see here we have this fast moving strength information. So now let's remove all this stuff here. Sorry. So now you can see that we have some pretty cool stuff. We have the thick line, which is long term. This is the medium term, and this is a short term strength information. So we're actually viewing a ton of information about this currency pair here. You can see that the Japanese yen is slowly starting to move lower, and the Kiwi is flattening out, and so this is probably going to encourage this pair to drift slightly higher, is my anticipation. I put a quick test trade on here, so we'll see. I'm expecting this to happen, so maybe this pair will slowly start wriggling north from here. But then we have, as I mentioned earlier, a setting called the greater period multiplier. So let's delete this one, and we'll take this one and we'll set the greater period multiplier to 1. Put it on 20. We take this one and we put this on 20 as well. So they're the same. We go like that, and now you can see currency strength calculated on this time frame plus 1, so 30 minutes. This is 30-minute currency strength here, and here we have 50-minute currency strength, both with a look back of 1. And you can see here that the Kiwi is moving higher, so we can expect this pair to wriggle north from here. This is half an hour currency strength. So if you go to the half an hour chart, well, then you can see now the half an hour currency strength reading or line is here, and this is now currency strength on the 1 hour chart. So this is 1 hour currency strength, and so you can overlay multiple instances of this software on the same chart and really be in the know as to what direction price is most likely to move, because you can see it's helping you identify the thinner side of the market, which for the time being is well, overall you can see that the thinner side of the market has been down, but you can see that these currencies are beginning to merge in towards the 0 line. We have this one here, which is getting stronger, the Kiwi. We have the Japanese yen, which is beginning to draw in towards the 0 line. So we can expect, if this holds, of course, we can expect this pair to wriggle higher from here. It's Friday night, so all the markets are about to close, so nothing will likely happen, but in the perfect world during the week, this is likely going to result in this pair wriggling higher from here. So an incredibly useful configuration. Just going to delete this. We'll go back to the configuration options. Good. Okay, and then we have this one here, which is enable static period. When this is set to true, and this is set to 0, just look back setting, you can see that we can see currency strength information is calculated on the, this is 1 minute currency strength information. So if you go to the half an hour chart, or the 50-minute, or the 4-hour, it doesn't matter. It's always going to show you 1 minute strength information. This is important if you want to ensure that your decision making, for example, if your decision making is based on the 1 minute chart, then you don't want to all of a sudden by mistake click on the 1 hour chart, which will change this, and you'll be making trading decisions based on the wrong information. So this is simply a setting that I used to help me ensure that I was viewing the correct currency strength information for the way that I want to trade. So very important setting, this one here. Then we have the symbol prefix. The symbol prefix is simply in relation to this here. If the broker's symbol name is XEURUSD, sorry, let me get this over here. So if we go like this, okay, so if the broker has for example XEURUSD, then you would put an X here, and if after the USD there was a PRO, which there often is, well, then you would put the PRO here. And you need to do this to help the indicator know what the currency, sorry, what the symbol names are composed of. If you have letters either before or after, they need to go on this configuration option here, otherwise the indicator doesn't know what to look for. Good. Then we have these ones. These are simply the session times for the 3 sessions. We have the Asian, the European, and North American. Ensure that these are right, and look at the market watch here and compare it. Just make sure that these are referring to the correct offsets. And we have this session line. When this is set to, for example, true, we can just do that. We press OK. Let's go to the minute chart. You can see that this line here was 15 minutes past 3, which is 15 minutes into the what? The North American Open. So the most recent session, this is 15 minutes into the session. And I use this very much, especially in relation to the European Open, because I wanted to know when it was about 15 minutes to 20 minutes past 8 local London time, because this is when the big institutions started filling their orders. And so I didn't want to make trading decisions before price had passed this threshold, this 15-minute threshold into the trading day. And so if I was making trading decisions based on strength readings after this vertical line, which was 15 minutes into the session, then I knew that liquidity, there was a lot more liquidity in the market now in relation, rather in contrast to currency strength readings before. This is thin liquidity, this is thick liquidity based on the time of the day. And I mean, the currency market is an incredibly decentralized market, so you can't really know at any given price level the amount of liquidity that is there, but you do have the time of day, and this is just to help us bring our attentions to specific times of the day that may or may not be important for the way that you like to trade. Okay, then we have this one here, display active currencies only. If you set this to true, rather when it's set to false, it's displaying all of the currencies at the same time. But if you only want to focus on the ones that your price chart is showing, currently I'm looking at Australian dollar, American dollar, you set this to true, and it's only going to show Australian dollar, and the American dollar here. So you're not distracted by by all the other squiggly lines. Likewise, if you have any positions open and you only want to focus on the currency strength for the positions that you have open, you can enable display working currencies only. Set this to true, and it's going to show you the currencies that are currently comprise orders that are currently working. And you can see here we have this order here. This is the Kiwi, Japanese yen, Kiwi, Japanese yen. And if we'll just put on a trade here just for fun, just to show you what I mean. So if we go like this, and we say sell, then we go back, go like this, you can see that the British pound has been added to the mix. And that's because now we have the British pound, we have the Kiwi here, and the Japanese yen. So we have three currencies that are currently working: Japanese yen, British pound, and the Kiwi. So now we only want to focus on those. So this is a really nice way to filter out the stuff that is uninteresting to us. Okay, good. So let's continue down. Let's put this to false. We want to see everything. Then we have the colors, and these are the same as they have always been. We have the euro, which is the blue, the European flag. We have the green for the American dollar, the greenback, and some of these may or may not make sense. Brown for Kiwi, and in New Zealand they have lots of cows. Cows eat grass. Grass grows in soil. Soil is brown. Yes, and we have a gold in Australia. Gold looks a little bit like kind of an orange color, so I've made it like that. So I've tried to link the colors to make it as clear as possible, but of course there are some that don't make sense, like magenta in Canada. That's kind of like the color that was left over. But we do have this where you can enable and disable different ones. So for example, if you don't want to see the euro, you simply set this to false and you won't see it. Yeah, and that's about it. Then we have the zero line here, which is ultimately the line in the middle here that shows us where zero levels are. So we have positive readings above and negative readings below. Good. So that is pretty much it. I'm not going to go too much into detail. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Ultimately, I just want you to know that there is no holy grail. There's no one setting that fits. So if you have a look back of 23 or 19, it doesn't really matter. And I'll encourage you to avoid trying to look for one, because there isn't one. But, I mean, the information you can see here is simply just showing you what's being bought and what's being sold, and during the course of what time frame. And so I suggest that you fiddle around with initially the look back setting. So the look back when it's equal to look back, which focuses on this value here, and the period open, which I find to be an amazing setting, because it really helps you assess what's going on throughout the course of the day or the hour or whatever the period may be. So I'll leave it at that, but just fiddle around the indicator, see if you can kind of get comfortable with it, see how you get on, and yeah, if you have any questions, post them in the in our forum, and we'll get to those as soon as we possibly can. Good. Thanks for watching.